This is an overview of PowerPAD CDI. You will notice at the top there is a toggle between diagnoses and procedures. We will first talk about diagnoses. You'll see a search bar below here. Just simply type in whatever you are looking for. In this case, I typed in asthma. Notice at the top that asthma is capitalized with an asterisk in front. This indicates category level codes, which are the first 3 characters in the code, and the user will have to complete choices as they go further into the template. Below that, there are various other different types of asthmas that you may or may not want. At this point, for a new user, we would recommend, until you become familiar with the product, that you choose a category level code. I will do that now. This opens what I was describing earlier, the choice points. You can see the patient was evaluated for asthma, specifically identified as. Click on the select and make your choices. Moderate, persistent, I'll choose. Described further as acute exacerbation. Notice that the complete button blinked and becomes active now. You will also see at the top there's a completed code, J45.41. Below that, a section called Did You Mean to Choose? The Did You Mean to Choose section is a very important area. I've changed templates to angina from asthma because it demonstrates what I want to show you more. Remember, I'd said most users will choose a standard category level like angina pectoris. But when I look further, I realized, this patient had either native coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis, or atherosclerosis in a previous bypass or transplanted heart, or maybe it's post-infarction angina. In other words, this is a more detailed and more accurate choice. So if I really meant that, what I can do is simply by clicking on the blue area, I can hyperlink immediately to that choice. In this case, let's choose atherosclerosis of coronary artery bypass grafts. And you will see that by simply clicking there, I'm now given a new choice. Let's now make this with angina pectoris, and you will see that I may have further choices as I go on down. And what I'm left with is a much, much more detailed and hopefully accurate assessment of what the patient has. At any point, I can choose further other Did You Mean to Choose selections. But for the sake of argument, let's say that this is it. I would click Complete. After clicking the Complete button, the related code screen opens. You will see at the top what we have previously documented. And then below that, a Did You Want to Add? Well, what does that mean? You can click on the bar and see what it means by definition. But essentially, this is added additional documentation that makes the patient encounter more complete. These are suggestions and are options only. Let's say we're going to give the patient essential hypertension, and we're also going to give them coronary atherosclerosis due to a calcified lesion. Once I complete this section, I click OK. When I click the OK button, in this template, there are associated PQRS quality metrics. These are simply series of short questions. By clicking yes or no, whichever is appropriate, and clicking Save, I complete the PQRS metric section. There may be one or more. Once returned to the main screen, you will see in the completed diagnosis area the 3 diagnoses that we previously documented. I can then go back and document other things, angina, whatever. Or I can also change over to procedures and document a procedure. In this case, let's choose a pancreatectomy. In this case, a total pancreatectomy. You will see that the procedure has no choice points, so I'm just going to click Complete. After clicking Complete, the related codes for the procedure I just documented opens. You will see the procedure that we just documented at the top, and then a series of scenarios. In ICD-10, each procedure that is performed must be documented separately. Although we took out the pancreas, we're now left with a lot of things that need to be rehooked back up. The scenarios allow you different ways to do that. I'm going to choose scenario 1 here first and click 1 or 2 of these. And notice I can only choose 1. That's because they're basically the same operation, just by different approach. Notice also, if I've clicked into the first scenario and then choose the third scenario, it deletes the choices in the first. You can only enter data from one scenario. We don't let the user make a mistake. And I'm going to document several of those and click OK. You will see that they now appear in the completed procedures section. If I want to see a summary of what I've documented, I can simply look at the completed diagnoses and completed procedures section, or if I want to see more detail, I can click on the Show This Encounter button. In doing so, you will see that each procedure or diagnosis is indicated on a separate line. Here's the asthma with its corresponding code. If I'd chosen present on admission, that would also be indicated, and then the actual summary. Same thing for procedures, although they don't have a present on admission. The big change here is you'll notice that there's a delete button next to each. If I choose delete, you'll see that this lines out that particular choice and changes the button to restore. Were I to now click OK, this would no longer appear in my summary, or I can restore it again by simply clicking the button. In this example, let's go ahead and delete it. Click OK, and you will see that it no longer appears on our screen. In this example, if I were complete with my documentation, in other words, this is all I wanted to document, I could either exit and do nothing with it, or I can complete this encounter. By clicking on this button, you open the Complete This Encounter screen. The Complete This Encounter screen simply reflects previous documentation. You will see that the previously documented diagnoses are on top, then procedures, then an attestation, and my signature and date. What do I do with this? Well, I can print it, or I can complete and copy. What that does is it transfers all this data to the Windows clipboard, where simply pressing Control-V pastes it into your EMR or elsewhere. I can always cancel at any point. You will also notice that each particular entry has a certain format. You have the name, then its summary, and then its code. These codes can be turned off in the setup if you would prefer. After clicking Complete and Copy to the Windows clipboard, you'll note that it returns me back to the main screen. It has also cleared the previous entries, so I can now document on a new patient. Other functionalities: extended vocabulary search basically allows the program to search for a word specifically. Let's say ski lift. You have no idea how to document a ski lift injury. It searches through and finds the actually appropriate template. Additionally, there's always a help button that you can press anywhere. There is a preferences setup. This documents the preferences that the user may have. And finally, a contact us screen that allows you to send emails or messages to PowerICD. As a teaching tool for coders, there's also a section that says Search by Codes. That allows the user to basically search by any 3-digit code or more. Let's say in this case I type in I-20. That happens to be a category level code for angina. Let's say I wanted to type in I-20.9. That's the completed code for unspecified angina. This has been a brief overview of PowerPAD CDI. If you have questions or would like to contact us for further information, please do so at the following website, telephone numbers, or email addresses.